to Saxthorpe Farms, and we've been busy. So I finished planting the corn and the sunflowers and all of the soybeans. So 19, 20, 10 and 9. Did that in a really random order. 19, 20 have also been rolled. 20 was weeded. The cows are all doing good. Did a couple of contracts as well. Yeah, I wanted to get past the seeding phase because it feels like everything we're doing is seeding. So we're not going to be doing that today. But yeah, so field 10 is still being rolled. Field 9 needs to be rolled. And while that's going on, we're going to buy field 7 for £91,000. We had a 25% discount thanks to our contracts, which is pretty cool. That's a feature of better contracts. You can adjust how much it is. The community agreed 25% was a good limit. So what I want to do now is do the soil sampling for precision farming. I had originally planned to buy this field at the beginning of May. But I then realized probably I want to sort the pH and the nitrogen before then. So that's what we're going to do today. That's part of what we're going to do today. We're also going to be doing a bit of home brewing. So we'll come to that a bit later. But yeah, we're going to be adding in a production. I know, a bit crazy, huh? But yeah, I thought it would be a way of accelerating how much we earn on here. And it also felt like a nice different way of using up all of the manure and slurry. Yes, I know you make homebrew with manure and slurry. That's why sometimes homebrew tastes like... Yeah, so I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself a little bit though. That's much later in the video, so we'll come to that in a bit. One of the cool things is that now, did I say the whole map is now planted? So that's kind of awesome. That means hopefully we will be getting plenty of contracts skipping coming up as we get into the rest of the year until we get to harvest. So some things that I'm particularly looking forward to. We've got the chaff missions installed, so we'll be getting some foraging contracts hopefully. That'll be fun. I'm going to probably, because I think I might need it, I'm not sure, install tip anywhere, because I have a cunning plan for how to maximize what we get off of the fields. So in terms of excess, we'll see how that goes. I've not played with that mod before, but I've got a cunning plan. I am currently somewhat ahead with videos. At the moment, we are still dealing with real life stuff. That might mean things just stop at the moment. So I'm getting ahead while I can. And it's a really nice distraction. So, yeah. So if I just stop appearing places for a bit, don't worry. I'm just dealing with real world stuff. And I know I'm being cryptic. I know that bugs some of you, but I don't really want to go into the details of it. Anywho, we are almost done with getting this field soil sampled. I did a really inefficient job of doing this. I think this is probably the most inefficient I could maybe have been without deliberately trying to be inefficient. I wanted to try and make sure I covered the whole field. And I think I end up missing a tiny piece, but it always really bugs me when I use Courseplay a lot to do this, and it always misses the corners. So I thought I'd do it myself, and I don't know. Maybe I did a better job. Maybe that little bit won't bug me, but we have our field sampled. From what I remember, the soil is pretty good. It's really just a case of what's the pH and the nitrogen like, and not great is the answer. So we need to do an entire unit of pH and all of the nitrogen. So fully loading the breedle because I expect that we might get through all of it. So we'll see. The 7230 is still running the roller. It's in field 10 at the moment still. Love Simple Inspector. And yeah, looks like it's got about half an hour to go on that, and then we'll get it going on field 9. Not something that I would normally do, actually, is skip a chunk of gameplay, but with both of the main Let's Plays being at exactly the same point of the year, give or take a day, and with the Valley of the Old Farm getting to that point as well, this was a way of pushing one of them ahead. So, and you'd seen me use all of our kit for doing this sort of work, so I figured it would be okay. And I just wanted to get things moving, to be honest. So that's what I did, and I actually had quite a bit of time today to play the game, so I took advantage of that. It was a day of not achieving very much. I did achieve something. So, stepping into the real world. Many years ago, in a land far, no. My dad made us a garden gate. I might have spoken about the garden gate. And over the years, it had sagged to the point where it wouldn't shut properly. Thanks to, I think, a YouTube short from a woodworking channel, I realised what was wrong with said gate, and that was that, don't tell him, please don't tell him, my dad had put the brace in the wrong way around, and rather than it being in compression, it was in tension. And it wasn't a problem when it was built, because my dad glued and screwed it all together and it was fine. Over the years, the glue joints have kind of broken away with the impact of the gate being shut, and where the brace is in tension, the gate had sagged and dropped at the far end, and no one wants a saggy end. So today, I took the gate down to the shed. I kind of squared it up again, put in some extra screws to deal with the brace sagging, and adjusted the gate latch. And our gate works. You do not believe how many years it's been, but I have ignored, tolerated that kind of thing. I kind of have this really, some of you may hate this word, some of you may love it, I have a really high tolerance for things being very janky. So the fact that I had to lift the gate up to shut it didn't bother me. It bothered Mrs. D a bit, and it was a nightmare when we had parcels delivered. So that's why I fixed it. It's like in our kitchen. We live in the house that Jack built here. That might not make sense to a bunch of you, but so half of the kitchen is lit by a ceiling rose light that comes out with some halogen lamps on it, and then half of the kitchen has spotlights in it. Barely any of them work, but it doesn't bother me because I can see. So it's, yeah. I know a lot of people it would really annoy, but as long as it works, I don't care. It's the same as, my car with the DPF filter. I've spoken about that a lot as well. It went when I was at Lama. I have since done what I said I should do, and I've been putting in the DPF cleaner and giving it as was advised and as I knew, but giving it an occasional slightly hard drive. And at the moment, it's behaving. So, but yeah, stuff like that bugs me, but not enough that not enough that I want to spend money fixing it. That's the thing. That's always the thing. Not wanting to spend money fixing it. Yeah. It's like I had an old laptop that would only charge if you bent the charger a certain way. That was fine. It still charged until the point where it wouldn't charge, and then I fixed it. I took the laptop apart, realised that the charger sat on a separate circuit board, brought that circuit board off of eBay, I think it was, and fitted it, and the laptop had a bit more life. The laptop still actually works, and it's very old now, but it's also not very good. So yeah. I tend to, like I say, I tend to have a really high threshold, but once I get to that threshold, If I can, I'll fix it. So, loading up with some slurry to do the nitrogen. We don't have a manure spreader, so this is easiest. I had completely forgotten that we ended the last video with one of the Volvos down at the BGA trying to sell manure. I know. I went back and could put barely any more in, so that's a no. I think I just need to put in a different sell point or add manure to one of the other sell points. So, or put in a better BGA. Or maybe I don't need to worry about any of that, thanks to some homebrew. Anyway, let's do some pH, not some pHing, some nitrogening. So grass needs 60 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare. We're on basically 0, give or take a few. So if I add 60 now, that will be good for cutting the grass next game day, next video probably. And then I can reapply and maybe give it a heavier dose. We'll see. Yeah, I thought that was I end up having to do multiple trips, but it was a way of not having to do ridiculous numbers because it is most of the way across the map between the two. So just trying to save things a little bit. I'm doing it. I'm noticing subtly, but I'm saying so a lot again, and I don't know if that bugs people watching. It's something that I think a lot of people use when they do this kind of thing to fill space while they want that fraction of a second to think about the next thing they say. Going back to the word janky, that largely comes from watching Linus Tech Tips. And he's not bad at making YouTube videos, you know, he does all right out of it. He does all right. You know, business that was valued at, I think, $100 million. He does all right out of YouTube. And one of their rules is that starting sentences with the word so is banned. And they actually did a really interesting, they spoke about this on a live stream this week where they were building a PC. And there are 2 reasons for it that he has. Maybe there weren't 2 reasons. I always say there are 2. Anyway, one of the reasons they said was because it makes it hard work for their editors when they are editing together different takes and stuff, because they don't do single takes for videos. The other one is it doesn't actually change what you say particularly. So, did it then? Yeah, it is just a filler word, and I don't know why I'm talking about it so much, apart from the fact that it's something to talk about to you guys for the 26 minutes, roughly, that I need to fill with the sound of my wonderful voice. You might have spotted that it seems, my guess, actually, I'm saying that, I'm about to say that VCA has got the working width wrong. What I suspect happens is I don't think I recalculated the working width, because you'll notice that we are missing little bits, which is not a problem because once we've cut this grass, we will be coming back and applying a liberal application of slurry. But you can see we're missing the occasional bit. It may not actually be enough to impact the yield because the game works on quite a coarse grid, so it should be okay. Anywho, we need to feed the cows because the cows are hungry and we do not have any more grass silage. And I'm slightly blind and I missed that I've just been past the grass silage bales. There they are by Oefel Hay. So we are importing grass silage from Germany. That brand was the Alien Pools forage brand when he had his forage business. So a couple of those bales brought us only £1,100 for 2 bales. They're not big bales. They're only 3,500 litres each, but they will get us through to the point that we can turn the cows out next game day. That's the plan. And we'll be selling the beef and buying new beefs, so that won't really change the amount of food they eat. But no, it's all part of the process we're going through to try and buy this whole map. I have noticed that there are some areas of the map that are not purchasable. And how to fix that? Should I? I can change it so that they're purchasable. I think they're defined farmlands. They're just not purchasable. They're generally kind of the bits that have got houses and stuff on. So maybe I shouldn't be buying those because, you know, I don't want to be a landlord again. Been there, done that. Wasn't much fun. So yeah, gonna stick these in the shed, then I'll grab one and we'll put in our about 1800 litres that we always use to make our mix. One of the cool things, if we can get some forage missions, then we can start either, and this depends on how I do things, we can somehow make whole crop silage from some of those, because some of them are for things like barley and stuff, so we should get some bonus silage basically, which will be good. And having our own grass food is also going to mean that I'll probably do my usual. I'll do 2 cuts of silage and a cut of hay, so we can start using a bit of hay to feed them, and yeah, we'll be good. I have got my eye on another little plot of land that would be good for some animals. I'm not sure which animals I'm going to put on there. It'll probably need to be a custom pasture because it's quite a weird shape little plot of land. And what's actually just jumped into my head is horses. I know. That's what I'm thinking, actually. That's what I'm thinking. Now, horses are quite slow in terms of generating income from what I remember. Particularly as the main income from horses in FS22 comes from them having foals. But it might be something different, you know? I'm putting productions in. Let's go totally crazy. And yeah, and we're going to do that right now. So this is the home brewed productions, and if you're actually paying attention, you'll see it has very little to do with homebrew, unless maybe you're home brewing. YouTube, please don't strike the video for that. I may have commented out that word. In fact, I'm going to make a note of it so that I can. So yeah, this is a mod. It's basically a garden shed where you turn manure, slurry and water into herbicide, liquid fert and solid fert. There is some magic going on in this little shed. And it's pretty darn effective. So 20 litres of slurry, 20 litres of manure, 20 litres of water, 80 litres of herbicide. I'll take that. 20 litres of slurry, 20 litres of water, 60 litres of liquid fert, and the same for solid fert using manure. You can produce 44,000 litres of herbicide in a month and 33,000 litres each of solid and liquid fert. And you can run all of the processes in parallel. I have not done the maths to check, but the fact that you get more out than you put in suggests that this will be highly profitable. Yeah. Just thought I'd give it a try. We'll see if it feels like it's making things too easy. We'll back off. We don't have that many cows, so I think that will probably limit how much we actually produce, because we've got a lot of manure and slurry at the moment because over the winter we had a lot more cows. And if we're going to put the cows out in the pasture, we won't be getting manure and slurry anyway. So yeah, it may be self-limiting. We'll see. It was something that Kartik and I looked at when we were messing around recording on Diddly Squat and looking at mods for stuff. I can't remember why we were looking at mods, but yeah, it kind of jumped out as something that would fit on here really well. And will help speed things up because we still have a ridiculous amount of land to buy. So, but we're progressing, so I'm not worried, you know. We've got a whole load of soybeans to sell in a couple of months, which is going to bring us in a few 100,000, which means we can probably buy another field or two. Once we've got feed sorted, we can re-increase the beef production, so that will be good as well. And yeah, this feels like it's going to be a bit like Greenland's was, the £10 million debt challenge. And, you know, in the first year, didn't make much money. Second year, didn't make much money. And then suddenly, boom, we were printing cash left, right, and centre. Yeah, some of that was maize plus releasing and dairy cows becoming ridiculously profitable. Some of it was the fact that as we got ourselves organised, we started putting more and more through things like BGAs and other productions and making cash. So, yeah. And we're coming up on our third harvest on here. That's kind of, obviously you start with harvest, but yeah, coming up on our third harvest on here in the summertime, and that's cool. I think, so I'm torn again. A bit of me, and we might look at doing it by trading you. So I want to have another bigger harvester. I might do that through trading in the 2 Deutz combines that we had from early on. Because I would also like to get a root crop harvester. I was talking about that last time. I would really like a large-ish self-propelled root crop harvester. So that we can start doing some root crops on here. And probably we need a better forage harvester. The one we've got is quite small. It's okay. It is pretty time consuming. So I think the other difference this year when we harvest is when we do our maize silage, I will be putting it up at the cow farm, which is where we are now, because we're going to buy ourselves an LSFM Innovations UTT 1800 tank. Because this guy holds everything, and it's going to be really good for getting the homebrew going. So we will need to put in a water buy point as well, but it'll let us move the slurry and the water. When we get there, once we've given it a thorough clean, we'll be able to move milk with it as well. So yeah, generally a very useful bit of kit. Haven't used it since Calmsden, don't think. So yeah, because sometimes I kind of hoard things, I actually got it from my Calmsden mods folder. I still have that. Might even still have the save saved somewhere. Because I went to the website to download it and was halfway through downloading it and closed Chrome. And it's quite a slow download, so I just went and found a copy that I had. It's a tad quicker. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to stick down the hose that I use on Glenlarvan as well, because that's a wash and a water point. So it'll be handy to have a hose over here for washing stuff, and we can use it to fill up the production. And if I put it just there with very little bits of movement, we'll be able to fill up with water. So yeah, I think it actually uses a shed building from the game, I think. I've never looked at those in game. I think that's what it uses, because I have looked in the XML. So I went in the XML to work out the monthly production rate, and also to check that I could just stick all of them on, because, you know, there's loads of room in that shed. I reckon there's a good half dozen guys in there working on the chemistry of turning cow poo to herbicide and fertilizer. Feels like herbicide should have something else to me, but, you know, I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to make use of it. Exploit, maybe, even. With how cheap it is, we could have multiples running if we got to that point, but I don't think we will, because I don't want to make things progress too quickly. You guys know by now, if you're still watching anyway, you guys know by now that I tend to like quite a slow progression through a game. So running too quickly will kind of be weird, but there's a load of kit we want as well. So, you know, having a bunch of cash coming in is going to be good. We need to buy a windrower for a start, for making all this. Well, not for making silage necessarily, but I would quite like to make the silage from semi-dry grass, because that way I can stuff more in the bales. We're not using the Thor bale, which gives you the same whatever. Got a nice John Deere square bale we'll be using, and then a nice bale wrapper. And generally not too worried about the speed of doing jobs like that, apart from the fact that I think we'll be doing a lot of it. It's not like I don't enjoy it. It's not like it's mowing real grass, is it? Which is really sucky. I'm at the point now where my tired old brain is running out of stuff to say. But anyway, let's brought the truck back up. This is just after I realized where it was hidden, and we're going to do a super slick job of getting manure into the trigger. It's quite, well, I was going to say it's quite a small trigger. I think the junction of the trigger and this trailer are quite small, so you will see that they keep flashing up. And yeah, it takes a little bit of finesse trying to work around a tree and our brand new tanker to get that in. But my plan is to run all three at once. So that means that for every 40 litres of manure and slurry we put in, we will get a whole load of stuffs. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click the like button. Thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Comments, questions, suggestions below. And I will see you next time.